Okay.
Okay,
Hi.
we're
All
live.
right. Hey, everyone, and welcome to the GPS Network. We have about a 30-minute webinar live event for you this evening where we're going to be highlighting some really great web tools for you to use with your students and other educators in regards to learning. And I just want to let you know, my name is Sharon Davison. I am an online facilitator for the NEA GPS Network. I am joined tonight by my colleagues and friends, Brandy Bixler, who is a technology integration specialist in Colorado, and my other friend, Pete Moran, who is also an educational technology specialist in the state of New Jersey. So let's get started. Let me screen share. I'm going to begin this evening by talking a little bit and showing you some slides about KidBlog. And one of the things that's really great that I love about KidBlog, using this as a platform with students, is that it is a really great asynchronous way for teachers to engage learning with their students and also families. It is free. You can purchase space on KidBlog at a very reasonable offer. KidBlog also offers educators an opportunity to model how they can use this tool to be safe, kind, and responsible in regards to their learning. Also, I put in another plug for KidBlog. They have a great blog also where teachers can go in and ask questions, and their turnaround time is really excellent. The other thing that's really great about KidBlog is it also offers students and families and educators lots of different ways to be really creative and design posts and things that you're learning about in regards to whatever it is that you're doing in school. And I've been using KidBlog for about 5-6 years now, and I really like the idea of beginning to how to introduce KidBlog and then also how to teach my students and their families how to blog as well. It's really a powerful platform to use. I've had many grandparents, extended family members from outside of Vermont also leave comments and posts for their granddaughter or grandson, so it's really wonderful. The other thing that KidBlog offers is it offers you and your students opportunities to leave compliments and comments about work and things that your students are sharing in regards to what they're learning. And I think one of the things that's so powerful is when you're blogging either with yourself professionally or with students is that the commenting can be really powerful. So when people are leaving comments on students' blogs, they're giving a compliment, but they're also kind of probing, or they have a further question. They want to have more of a discussion or more of a conversation with you about what it is that you're blogging about, and that is really awesome. And then as an educator, you have the ability to make your own class. You can make them private or public. The other thing that I really love that's happened this last year, KidBlog you can actually go in and have your posts private or public. So I do have a student this year whose parents do not want her posts public, but I do make them public within the class so other classmates can comment on them, but not, publicly and globally. So those are some really great features. Some other things, really quickly, I used I think it's called not Tuxedo, Texago, just to make a little, kind of like a little Wordle about why you want to think about really using KidBlog. It's fun, it's great for family, it's a great way to connect. I have found that my students have really been inspiring each other through their ideas and their blog posts. We also will tweet out our class link to other classes on Twitter that we follow, and that has been really awesome too, because then other kindergarten classrooms across the United States are also reading their children's posts and also leaving compliments and comments. And I have to tell you, with my young bloggers, 5- and 6-year-olds, they are most inspired by the comments that people leave. So they will do whatever it takes to get a blog post done because they really want to know what people think about their work. And it also, I think, as a as a teacher, it offers me and my students a lot of time to begin to be reflective about the kinds of things that we're doing with our students. What are you learning from this experience? Where do you want to go with it? So it really explores that how, what, and why thinking, which I think is really important. And then, of course, there's always opportunities when you're using any kind of a digital tool to really have invitations with your parents and students to learn alongside you about how to become a safe, kind, and responsible digital citizen. So if you're interested in KidBlog, it's really easy. All you have to do is go to the link here that you see on the slide, create an account for yourself or a class account, and then begin sharing and blogging. And I would really encourage you to give it a shot, give it a try. It's really worth it. There's a lot of support at KidBlog. The people there are wonderful. And the other thing to be thinking about is, what is it that you want to do when you're using KidBlog? Why are you doing it, and how are you going to do it? So for me, my original intent when I started using KidBlog was I wanted to start building really strong and meaningful relationships with my students and their families before I even met them. So that was my intent. So be thinking about that. And sometimes people will begin using KidBlog if they just want to focus on literature, if they're doing guided reading groups, or if you're just focusing on science or mathematics. But really kind of have that worked out in your mind about where you want to start and why. And then what is it going to look like? And why are you doing it? And of course, you know, as I mentioned earlier, be thinking really about, you know, these are some reasons, some of the reasons, and there are many others out there that I have not listed on this slide about why you want to blog. But it really does give children a chance to design and create what it is that they're understanding in regards to their learning, and it's really wonderful. So in KidBlog itself, I have left here my link to my own kindergarten class that you are welcome to go into and sign in as guest. There are lots of possibilities. This last year, KidBlog has changed kind of the format of it. I really like this for kindergarten. This is kind of a screenshot of what it looks like when you log into my class blog. So all the students can see their blog posts with their title, and then here you have comments. So the children know how many comments they have, and we can go in and read them. And then there's also categories, which is really, this was such a genius idea by KidBlog. So when I go in and we're blogging about something specific, like here you can see Digital Learning Day, Dr. Seuss, the big snow, how we make a difference, dot day, how to make ice. Those are all categories. So I know when I go in and my kids click on a category, I can go in and check to make sure that everyone has a blog post, everyone has commented on it, and it's just a nice really way to kind of organize my thinking and also the students. And then the last thing that I really love about KidBlog is the kids can also create their own little avatar, their own little identity. And this is really easy to do. So I use DoodleBuddy for the kids to create their little avatar, and then it's really easy to go from DoodleBuddy on an iPad. You can upload it to KidBlog. So that's the other thing that I really like, is that KidBlog is very easy to use on lots of different devices. So it's a great platform to use with your students.
Sharon, I have a question for you about that.
Oh, sure.
Do your students upload their own blog posts and their own comments?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And this year we've had a little bit of trouble with the formatting on our iPads because, you know, every time there's an upgrade, things change.
Right.
So what I have really liked is in the beginning of the year, I'm very explicit about how I model with the students how to get onto KidBlog, so they know what the steps are involved. Mm-hmm. And we do that a lot together at the beginning of the year. So this time of year, I do have, I would say probably just over half my class can get on independently.
Nice. That's
So
awesome.
it is pretty cool. And I have to tell you, they are so excited. They are so excited. Oh, can I look at my blog? And it's great because using Air Server or not or on our smart board, we can flash their posts up there. And I have to tell you, I have never had a student who says, "Oh, I don't want to get up and talk about my kid blog." And that's the other thing, right? So we think about how important it is for children to become risk takers and to have confidence in their abilities and what they want to share. And KidBlog offers all students that experience. So it's a great tool. It's a great tool.
So you use an app on the iPad, and that's just a lot easier than using it on a PC?
Yeah, well, and you could do it either way. So the app on our iPads is working, but then the kids had to sign in to like my email, so I would have to do it. So then what one of our wonderful technicians did is they created an icon with WSD, and then they have Kid Blog on it. So the kids know to go to that icon. Because for young kids, I really want to make the steps to get there very simple and very easy. And if there's too many steps or too much reading involved, then it doesn't become fun for them. So that's how I kind of, make that a little bit easier. And then also creating little books with pictures and little guides like how to do this. Because really, you want students eventually to be able to do this independently.
That's really cool. Thank you.
Yeah,
Great, Sarah.
yeah, thanks. All right, so next we have Brandy. Am I right?
So I'm going to talk about VoiceThread. VoiceThread is one of my favorite Web 2.0 tools. I've had a lot of success using it with English language learners, kindergarten through 8th grade, but I had a really powerful experience with some refugee students in 8th grade, and I just wanted to share a little bit about that towards the end. I'll talk about the process I went through with them. But to start out, VoiceThread it's an application online, and it is a place where you can put some media, you can put a picture or a little video, and then people have conversations around that media. You can have more than one page also, so you can do 3 or 4 pages on it. It's really easy to add an image or a file. You just click create and click upload file, and it comes up. And then after you've created it, then you would invite people to comment. And one of the things I like the most about the commenting is you can do it in multiple ways. You can do it on a device. You can use your phone and dial a number and leave a comment. You can do it. You can type it. You can record it. It's just really flexible with the commenting. And then the sharing, you can either share it privately, you can share it with a group, or you can share it with the entire world. The free version allows you to create up to 5 voice threads, and you can comment by microphone and text, and you can share your voice thread via a link. A single educator account, so if you want to do all the premium features, it's about $15 per month. I think I put per year on that. That's not right. It's $15 per month.
I like the per year.
Yeah, me too. That was a wishful thinking mistake.
Yeah.
Next slide.
Okay.
All right, so this is an example of a poetry slam using social justice. So Sharon, if you could click on that link, I'm hoping we can show a little bit of it.
Sure.
So here's the picture, and if you look over on the side, there's different icons. If you click on those different icons, you can see the comments and the poetry that other people have done. So can you click on one of them? Like maybe the chess piece. Is it playing?
It's real quiet.
Yeah, the quality's not going to be very good. So, but anyways, you can look at this and you can see the picture the teacher chose to put up there is kind of generic. but along the side are all the students' poems about social justice. And it's really cool. If you get an opportunity to go back and look at that link, I highly recommend it. I'll post this presentation in the events page so you can go back and have access to all the links. Sharon, can you go back to the presentation and the next page? All right, so it's really easy to use. Like I said before, you just click create, you add your media, and then you invite students to participate. So one thing you do need to know is if you don't have an educator account, students will have to register with their own email account. So if you have a Google Apps in your district, you know, it's pretty easy to do, especially with the older kids because they know their email. If you're using it with kindergarten or younger kids, you might want to, you know, make up a Gmail account for your class and just have everybody kind of sign in with that one Gmail account. And then, you know, the only difference is when you look at the icons on the side, it'll say just your name over and over again, but the students will be able to tell whose voices they are. If you have an educator account, you can actually use identities. So you're protecting your students in this unique way that they have of setting that up. You can also subscribe to EdVoiceThread, which is also paid. There's a video here on getting started. If you're interested, it's not a video, I'm sorry, it's a PDF on just getting started. We don't have to look at it now, but it is in the presentation if you want to go back to it later. It goes in depth about how to set these up and what the difference is between the accounts and how to use identities. So if you're interested in using VoiceThread, please look at that PDF. Next slide. All right, so here's an oral language group that I use, and actually it wasn't 8th grade, it was 6th graders, and they were some of them were from Burma and some of them were from Thailand, and they were new students, and they actually had a lot of trauma in their lives too. So it was an interesting group of students because in the past at the school I worked at, we had a large population of Spanish-only speaking students, and then our school started to change, and we started to get the refugee students, and they were coming in at a, you know, in middle school ages instead of, you know, coming in, you know, from kindergarten and having that time to acquire the language. So we would have these students in our class, and they didn't even speak the same language, and we couldn't always get a translator to come in either and help out. So we really had to be creative about, you know, how we're going to teach them. And the oral language, we use Mondo, and I don't know how familiar people are with that, but they have the oral language section, and they have big posters, and it's the little kids would sit around and look at a picture of a monkey or a puppy or a snail, and they would just have a conversation around that poster. But what we found with the older kids is the pictures just weren't very engaging. So we used one iPad, and we used VoiceThread, and we went to Google search, and we found images that had pictures of things from their country, from their culture, and the amount of language that these students produced during these sessions increased by probably, you know, 500%. They would smile, they would get excited, and they really wanted to communicate with each other about their experiences. And one thing that I noticed as a teacher, there was a lot of discussion about their different religions that played such a key part of their previous life. So what we do is we'd sign in to the iPad, and I would put maybe 5 or 6 pictures in the photo library of the iPad, and we would kind of negotiate and choose a picture, and then each student would take turns looking at what they see, and then just, you know, talking about what they see. They would approximate saying a sentence, and then they would pick one thing. Each student would pick one thing about that picture that they really wanted to say, and they would practice it, that one sentence, maybe 3 or 4 times, you know, on their own. And then I would hand them the iPad, and they would use it to record their sentence after they had the oral rehearsal. Then they would record their sentence, then we'd pass it on, and someone else would record their sentence. So we had maybe 5 sentences when we were done with the group. And then the next day we would have them practice writing out their sentence. So we would give them we'd usually write it down for them and let them practice, writing it and saying it, and then they could actually type it in on as their comment the next day. They could also go back and listen to each other's sentences as many times as they wanted to. So for listening with that sentence structure, it was really an important piece for them. They could listen to structurally correct sentences that they were part of developing, and they could listen to it more than once. So that's how I used it with a lot of success. And I used it with the little kids, with like kindergarten and first graders, also doing a more traditional oral language group. And again, it was the same process, but the results weren't quite as dramatic as working with these middle school students, because they had a lot to say about these pictures. Can you turn the slide?
Sure. Brandy, I think that's so great. I think it's such a great example, a rich example of how we can bring people to share personal experiences in ways that are really meaningful and get them really excited. That sounds like an incredible project.
And it talks about cultural relevancy in education, and it is so key. And the internet, that's one of the powerful things about the internet. Something just as simple as a Google search for images can change your lessons.
And Brandy, does it work equally as well with iPads and like if you're and say Chromebooks or Google Apps for Education?
Yeah, and I would say that it would probably work better if you had Chromebooks or a PC than the iPad app, just because the features are just a little bit, to me, they were clearer on what you were supposed to do when you clicked on it.
Okay.
So, yeah, any tool really works, as long as you have a microphone that works.
Okay.
Which can be a challenge.
Yeah.
That's true. Can you do it, like I'm doing a little video now, and one kids are doing animation, and if they've got just a couple picture slides, can you put a voice thread into a video? Like,
I don't know.
Like I'm probably just going to add their voice over it, but it looked nice.
Yeah, I don't know if you can embed it. I don't even know if there's an embed code, but that's a really good question.
Okay.
You could do a screencast of the voice thread and then put that in a video.
Yeah, I'm trying. I've got too many videos going at once, so I don't even know what I'm doing yet.
Right.
Well, thanks. That was great.
Really.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, really nice, Brandy. I love VoiceThread too. I use it in kindergarten, and I do have the kids practice ahead of time, but I really like how you scaffold that in your process. So I'm going to give it a try. Thanks so much.
Let me know how it goes.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, mine is Kahoot, and I found out about Kahoot between the Christmas break. Somebody sent this out, and it's engaging, and one of the things that Sharon had on their top, it's fun, and it's kind of making education fun for kids, and I've done it with as young as preschoolers all the way up to 8th graders, and then I know high school, the Sending District High School, they use it, and I used it with adults like around Christmas time. It's just real fun and easy to do. This is the sign-in page, and if you typed in on a Google search, get Kahoot, this is the page that you would get to. You sign in, and then you can go ahead and start to create or just use one of the Kahoots that they have up there. So if you go to the next slide, Sharon.
Okay.
And this is when you're signed in to write, PJM 2014. And down there you can do quizzes, discussions, surveys. And I usually just do the most are quizzes. And I think when you look at the public Kahoots up there, they're up to 176,000 different Kahoots, and they're being created every day. And I've only created 7 myself. I do 6th grade social studies, and I typed in 6th grade ancient Egypt, and I had 10 different teachers. And I just wow, they're the same questions I have, so why recreate them? And I just had the kids go in, and they would take it from here. And You go to the next slide. So I just did, and I popped in what's popular. You can tell that this Kahoot was created 2 days ago. It has 20 questions, and on the very bottom down there where it says zero tolerance, it gives you the questions so you can preview them if you want to see what they are, if they're not appropriate, and then you can see the answers before you do it. And if you're happy with it, then what you would do is you hit play, and you would click on there, and I'll go to the next slide, and I'll show you what happens. And it comes to this as a launch Kahoot, and it gives you different things that you can do. You can randomize the questions, minimize the instructions. I usually just keep it to the. I don't like the music that much, but the kids seem to love the music. And when you hit launch, it'll give you a game pin number. So if you hit the next slide. And the game pin number that when they're what the students would get, you can use tablets, you can use your cell phones, it can be computers. All you need is an internet connection. And you see the word up there, they go to Kahoot It. So when they hit Kahoot It, it just says on their game pin number. That's the only thing that they have to go to. So the next slide will be the one that they would. So this is like all the kids would, all their screen when you hit Kahoot It, you get this game pin number, and they're just waiting to put it in there. And then go to the next slide, and I'll. So the game pin number for that book one was 683-493. When they put it in, the next thing that they do is they can put in their initials, or it says nickname. And usually I make the little kids stick with initials, but when you get to 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, you let them have a little bit of fun. They're like, cool guy 789, and they have like, as long as they're appropriate, they're all right. And you can sit there, and if you feel that there's a questionable name, you can just delete that person off the game. And then they say, try to enter again with a better name. And it's, we haven't really had any problems with it. So when you click, there's only one person. To the next slide, Sharon. So in this game, I'm the only person that's playing, but you can have like a classroom of 25, and I talk to the people at Kahoot. You can have 100, 200 people playing, and when they answer questions, where the really fun part comes in is if everybody knows the answers, it's the first 5 people that hit. That's the only ones that they list, and then on their device, they tell you you're in 15th place, you're in 16th place, and so you can keep going. They're always trying to get out. And the only thing the bad that happens sometimes is usually someone that's in 1st or 2nd gets kicked off the internet, and then they have to start all over again. And I talk to the people at Kahoot, and there's no way to get them back in their right spot. They just gotta start from the bottom again. So you go to the next slide. So once they put in, in this one it's just me, and then a question pops up. Zero tolerance. I don't know what this book is, but it's, what is the consequence for Sierra's major offense at school? You have on like the smart board or whatever you're showing it on, they get to see all the choices up there, but on their device itself, all they have is the shape and the color. So they have to read it up there, and then they have to pick it. And you get excited, and you hit wrong answers sometimes. And then when they'll go to the next slide, and they'll give you the correct answer, I think was the yellow, expulsion. I didn't hit anything. I just let the question time out. But then it gives you the results at the end. And the next slide, I didn't go to that. It would list the top 5 players that are doing it. And the other thing that's great is when you have the nicknames, and if you're a Google Apps for Education school, and even if you're not, I think, you can put it right to your drive, the results. So if you're doing a review for the quiz and you can see who's really, not getting this concept or getting something, you can have their nicknames with their real names, and then look at it and see how the class did. And usually, with the kindergarten kids in the preschool, we were doing, the simple, A stands for apple, and like which one was the apple, and then you kind of just told them, everybody should be hitting red. And just, with the preschool kids, you're just happy that they all 10 out of 10 or 15 out of 15 kids hit the red. But for the older kids, you can really use it as a, a data-driven device trying to figure out if they know what they're doing or if they're off track somewhere. And the one thing from preschool to the 8th graders to adults, you can Chromecasting on your TV or use an Apple TV or whatever device that you're doing, and the one person setting it up, everybody else has their cell phone, and whoever has the best connection seems to have the best opportunity. Everybody just gets involved, and they have tons of questions from, the best Oscar movies to Disney movies to cartoons, pretty much anything you want. So you can have it as fun for kids and as fun for adults if you want something of a different genre, I guess. But it's really engaging, it's real fun, and it's real simple once you get started.
That sounds awesome, Pete. I'm going to try. I want to try this with my parents when I do my kid blog gathering in a couple of weeks. So I may get in touch with you again. I may have them just try this. And what about devices, Pete? Using this, like, it works pretty well on all devices?
It works great on. That's the really nice thing. It pops up like you have your one account with the Get Kahoot, but you could have a person on an iPad, a smartphone. You could have people on the computers. You can have, especially with the younger kids, you want them to get concepts. You might have them working together to get the right answers. So then you have like one device to two kids, and then they're negotiating to figure out what the right answer is.
Awesome.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's easy and fun. And that's mine for Kahoot.
All right, awesome. All right, so we hope that this evening, learning a little bit about KidBlog, learning a little bit about VoiceThread and Kahoot, that some of you may be inspired to give these tools a try. And Brandy, our technician extraordinaire, has created a document, so she will include this. Where are you going to put all the links and information? On the event page?
On the events page, yep. And then we'll put them in the groups too, I assumed.
Yeah, that would be great. And then if you would email us those too, so we could post them in our groups. Anyway,
presentation.
Oh, okay. All right. So anyway, thanks everyone for being here, and we hope this was helpful. And again, we hope that you will consider thinking about becoming a member of the GPS network. It's free, and it's a great way to connect and collaborate with other educators across the United States who are also devoted, like all of you, to making a difference for children. So thank you, everyone, for joining us.
See you.
Bye.